Hey there, friends. Some of you may not realize that we have a hurricane starting to form down in the southern part of the Gulf of Mexico. I'm, of course, here in South Louisiana, 20 or so miles from the Gulf of Mexico. So anytime there's a disturbance out in the Atlantic or the Gulf of Mexico, we pay particular attention, especially since we got hit with what we all believe was a Category 5, but they're categorizing it as a Category 4 when Laura hit, and of course Rita several years before that. I wanted to show you guys some of the stuff that I take out of here. Now, what I'm going to show you is it's not everything you need, and it may be more than what you need, but it's what I feel comfortable being in more of a mobile atmosphere. This is supposed to be a Category 1, possibly at the most 2 when it makes landfall. So we're talking about at worst in that 100-mile-an-hour range. Honestly, guys, we had Hurricane Delta 6 weeks after Hurricane Laura, and I was live streaming walking down the street in the hurricane in 90-mile-an-hour wind. 90-mile-an-hour wind, can it be destructive? Oh yeah, all the safety guys out there going, yes, it's probably not going to be that bad. You're going to have stuff flying around. Your house will not be destroyed in 90-mile-an-hour wind. Well, I guess it depends on what kind of house you live in. But nevertheless, I always like to have my stuff ready to go. Let me show you what, I'm not evacuating, but let me show you what I want to have ready in the event that I need to move out. And let's face it, we may want to help some other people too. These are just things that if I'm going to take off, I don't have to scatter and start finding stuff. Okay, some of the obvious stuff. If you drive a diesel, Blue Def. I hate this stuff. Hope the Department of Environmental Quality guys or whoever they are aren't listening to this, but once this thing is out of warranty, I'm going to be doing some things to it that will not require Blue Def anymore. So get out of here. First and foremost, a fully packed med kit. Now, when I tell you fully packed, I don't like to just take a med kit like it comes if you buy it from Amazon or one of the safety places. I like to go in there and put things in there. I spend a lot of time at the range, so there's some wound dressing things in there, some wound packing things in there, packing for chests and things of that nature, tourniquet. Actually, speaking of tourniquet, let me grab my Mission First Acro bag. I always have a tourniquet very, very near at all times, and I'll keep a few of them just in case. So if I can't locate this bag, they might be somewhere else. So I do have one in my med kit, of course, and then I have one right here, very easy to get to. I'm just a big fan of having tourniquet. I've never needed one, but I'm a big fan of having them around here. Let me show you my external pockets now. First of all, I've got right here, this is an iRay thermal imaging right here. This thing is pretty cool. It's not a scope, it does not mount on a gun. What I like about this, if you have a lights out type area, or even if you don't lose power, you don't have lights out, you're going to have looters. It's not if you have looters, it's when you have looters. I don't mean everybody's house is going to be attacked by looters. I mean, looting is good business during hurricanes, so there will be looters somewhere during a hurricane. I like the fact that you can sit outside with your whatever implement you choose at night, whether you have a power outage or not. That's the beauty of thermal imaging. You can use it in broad daylight if you want to, because it's picking up heat signatures. So this gives me a chance to look for those, let's just call them early trick-or-treaters, and it gives me a chance to locate them before I actually have to interact with them. So check them out, iRay. It's a really, really cool device. This is some of the obvious stuff. Flashlight, get you a good flashlight, one you can throw in your pocket even. I like to carry a couple of these battery packs, right? Along with the cable needed to charge my phone. So I just keep an extra one. Don't use the one from your truck. Leave that in your truck. Leave it wherever. Keep an extra one here so that when you grab your bag and go, you're not looking for other things. I don't like that additional level of stress to know, oh, I need to grab my phone charger. No, I don't need to grab my phone charger. I have an extra one in my bag. Don't skimp on stuff like that. Buy an extra, have an extra. That way it's always in here. I don't have to hunt it down. This external pocket here, pretty important. I'm gonna have a Glock 19 on my side. I also have a Glock 19 right here. This one actually has a Gideon optic on it. These Acro bags from Mission First Tactical are really cool because they have a set up in here where you can actually put your holster in here. So that's really neat that you can do that. You can angle that holster however you want. I want pretty easy and quick access to it. And it's actually an emission first holster as well. So once it's in there, it's got pretty good retention. In many cases, I may even leave this pocket open, but obviously you can zip it up, especially depending on where you're going, right? Top pocket, not a whole lot of anything. Chapstick, not a very important pocket right there. Next pocket, okay. A few things if you're on the run. I just happen to like pistachios. Scissors that can work with your med kit or not. I have a pair of scissors in the med kit also. You never know when you need a pair of scissors. Of course, I've got a pocket knife in here also. Ink pen, Sharpie, glow sticks, just in case my battery goes out or just in case I'm trying to mark something. I've actually had issues on the road before during hurricanes whenever people are trying to move back into an area, trees are down, fences are down, crap's in the road. I've used glow sticks before to mark things on the road, like set them on top of a tree limb that's sticking outside into the roadway or at least close to the roadway. I've laid these on top and set them up so at night people are going to see them before somebody has a chance to move that tree out of the way. So definitely something you want to look into. Hand sanitizer. I hope to never ever need this, but it's a fire starter. It's got the flint thing and all that good stuff in there. Hopefully that is never ever in my lifetime used by me because I need to. Hopefully it's just for fun, but I've got it if I need it. This pocket here is where we get down to business. Lots of room in this acro bag by Mission First Tactical. First of all, obviously, as you saw, it was perfectly hidden in here. This is my CMMG Descent. I have it in 9mm for obvious reasons. I'm carrying a Glock. These take Glock magazines. So I'm carrying a Glock. I have a Glock in my bag, and this is also going to take those Glock magazines. So definitely want to get you something that's somewhat concealable. I don't really care about other people's feelings, but at the same time, I don't want unnecessary stress in an already stressful situation, especially if I'm already carrying. So I don't always want somebody to see the heavier stuff that I might be carrying at the time, unless you're trying to send that message. If it's an innocent situation and you got some frail person, some little limp-wristed, milquetoast, pasty white boy that is afraid of guns, well, I don't want to make a situation worse than what it already is. Maybe I'll show him that on the way out, but I don't want to make, maybe I'm bartering, right? Maybe I'm bartering with some milquetoast pansy, and I want all the advantages that I can have. So that's the advantage of having this, and it's always nice to have that kind of gray man thing, right? You always want to blend when you need to blend, right? There are times to let people know that you're armed, especially in a storm type situation, like this is my house. Don't be afraid to stand in front of it with a shotgun thrown over your shoulder. You're defending your place and you're defending your stuff. But there are some times where you do have an advantage for blending in, so that's very important. I will show you the shotgun in a second. Box of buckshot, a couple of hundred rounds of 9mm. More protein, just in case. You never know, man. This is one of those situations that it's very unpredictable when you're in a situation like that. This is what I'll usually bring with me, and there's reasons why I've unloaded it for this video. Usually it's going to have buckshot in it. This is the Remington 870. If you notice, it's got that nickel-plated finish. That's kind of like that marine finish that they have. Less likely to rust. You can actually see water spots on this one. I have used this one and carried it in hurricanes before, and it's no worse for the wear. A little bit of wear marks on it. Of course, I've got a Gideon red dot on it if I need it. Cool thing about that Gideon red dot sits up high, so if I still want to access my iron sights, which is likely going to be my first choice in many cases, I just like iron sights. I can look underneath this Gideon optic and access that front bead. So really nice. I've done a few things with it to make it a little bit more slicker and a little bit more lighter. I do have some less than lethal rounds over here. These are basically big fat gel rounds that will supposedly not penetrate the skin, but I've got it on there in case I'm trying to send a message, but it will be loaded with a full mag capacity of buckshot because I'm not looking for less than lethal if I'm having to grab this thing in a pinch. Remember, I have one on my side, have one in here, and another, I guess, AR style pistol inside there. So of course I've got another can of ammo over here because I'm going to have an AR-15 and 5.56 in the back seat also. A couple of pairs of rubber boots, long rubber boots, tall rubber boots, and then short rubber boots. I've got a plethora of bungee cord straps, tow ropes in here. Those usually stay in there. Most of that stays in there all the time anyway, the rubber boots and the tow straps and all that. So that's essentially what I'm going to carry with me. Remember, this is not an evacuation, so I'm not bringing everything with me. This is just if I'm out and about, need to help somebody move a tree out of the way. Again, folks, don't think that this is what you have to carry. Don't think that I'm exactly right. There's probably stuff that I'm missing, probably stuff that I've left out, and I probably have stuff that I would never actually use. But I have it in the event that I need it. Obviously, the other thing that I want to make sure that I bring with me is more than likely going to be family members. Don't forget those as well. And pets, if you have any pets, keep those in mind too, especially if you're going to be leaving for an extended period of time. Keep those in mind as well. And again, in my case, you know, if it's a high 4 or a 5, I would consider leaving, but my house has been fine in 2 category 4s and 5s so far. It's the tornadoes, obviously, that we worry about more than anything. I'm actually far enough inland that the storm surge is not going to do much more than maybe flood the street, so I don't have that issue as well, like some people who are more in the coastal regions and lying down in those lower areas. So again, guys, give me your feedback. I would love to know, those of you especially up and down the East Coast and along the Gulf Coast, what do you guys have in kind of a, I don't want to call it a bug out scenario, but you have a natural disaster. And it may not be necessarily to evacuate. Again, this is not my evacuation setup. We'd be packing a lot more in here if that were the case. But in your event that you're wanting to have something handy that pretty much is a broad brush, it covers a lot of stuff to make sure that you're not completely without something. I may not have the best of every single thing, but I have a little bit of everything that I might need, which is probably going to get me to where I need to be, which is safety.
God save the Queen, man.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.